everyone obsesses over the number. But in Pokemon, the logo on the slab can make or break. So today, we're going to be comparing the top three grading companies: BGS, CGC, and PSA from a value and investment perspective. And we have three wonderful pieces here, all graded differently. So let's get into it. This is Battle of the Grades. No hype, no bias, no market structure. If you're grading cards for value retention and not just for Instagram clout, this stuff matters. Now, let's start with what most people think is the king of grading. That's PSA. PSA, in most cases, means liquidity. It is said the king of grading. A PSA 10 usually sets the market ceiling for a card's value, and it's got the strongest resale velocity. If you can get something in a PSA 10, in my mind, that's a gold standard. In fact, if we look at the recent sales of the prismatic Umbreon that we have here, this is the Japanese variant, you'll notice that PSA is the highest sales when it comes to that number. And that is because when it comes to PSA, they set the market, they have the most clout, and they are the king of liquidity. Now, it's very clear from that example that PSA really owns the spread. So, if your goal is maximum resale liquidity, PSA is statistically the safest exit strategy when it comes to reselling your cards. Now, next in the lineup is Beckett for the collectors who value transparency and precision when it comes to grading. Just holding this Beckett card in my hand, it feels premium. And the thing I like about Beckett is you have subgrades for centering, edges, corners, and surface wear. Now, if you can get a Beckett and a Black Label 10, that is top tier. Now, some collectors say that a Beckett 9.5 is basically the equivalent of a PSA 10. Well, in my freshness in this hobby, tend to disagree. I think there is something to be said when it comes to Black Label 10s on Beckett. I think a lot of Beckett 10s can, in my research, outperform PSA 10s. Now, when is Beckett the best? I think Beckett serves itself the best when we're chasing modern cards instead of the vintage. And when you believe your card is flawless, you've got to grade it with Beckett. I think Beckett really provides a lot of detail when it comes to their grading from what I've seen. And I'm really fortunate to have this Beckett 9.5, which is not quite a 10, but still a great value piece. Now, last but certainly not least, is CGC, which is the certified grading company. They entered the Pokemon space later, but really gained a lot of traction during the pandemic. Now, standard CGC usually grades under PSA and Beckett of the same value, but I think CGC is a value brand for collectors. They're very competitive with their submission pricing, and they're very accessible to all new collectors. Now, in my opinion, when you want to grade CGC, it's when you have a bulk amount of cards. It's also when you're focused on value over the speed of the grading process. When you're just starting out, as I was, I think that CGC is a great entry level point for grading because they're more affordable because where CGC it has not been around as long as the other two grading companies. And I think that it has well deserved its place in the grading world. Now, in the interest of transparency, you're going to see a graph screen somewhere highlighting the pros and cons of each grading company. I think grading needs to be an objective process. I think people can get really emotional about the brand, and when you're dealing with a high nostalgia product like Pokemon, that might be a good thing. But it's always good to realize where the value lies with each grading company. I think buyers trust PSA because it's familiar, and collectors they chase that Black Label Beckett because it's elite. Now, where CGC falls in is you have the value hunters that maybe they want something graded, but they want it done efficiently and cost effectively. Maybe it's not their top tier card, but they just enjoy it. And that's why I think there's room for all these grading companies in the Pokemon hobby. Now, let's say you had $2,000. You get one PSA 10, you get two BGS 9.5s, or you get three CGC in a 10. I think this is not really a grading question. It's more about portfolio construction. For me, I value liquidity. So in that case, I tend to go with PSA. And that's why grading matters. But the logo always determines the exit strategy you're looking for. You want to hold, go with BGS. If you want to get value, go with CGC. But keep in mind, liquidity is always king with PSA. Pokemon with another video. Guys, if you enjoyed it, please comment and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what grade company you're choosing and what exit strategy you're prioritizing when it comes to collecting your Pokemon cards. Catch you in the next one.